It does take a little bit for that recording to render, so it might be tomorrow before I can get it to you, depending on how busy and how much traffic is happening on the platform today. But not to worry, if you want to take some screenshots right now, just know that if you commented in the question box, you will get a copy of today's slides and the recording. This is who I am. I'm an Air Force brat. I have spent almost all my life growing up on Air Force bases. In fact, my first job was at the commissary. And so that's within AFIS. I'm an Air Force brat, and I've lived overseas, here in the US, just all over, really getting an opportunity to get to know the military community, to grow up in the military community. Of course, my father, just 27 years in his service in the military, and then, 7 additional years he did in the reserves. So I very much am committed to the military, and I'm so grateful for everybody who has served and sacrificed. And I just appreciate you so much. All right, so let's see. We got Cindy here. Thank you, Cindy. Glad you're finding that. So good to see you, everyone. Anyone else, make sure you find that question box. That's the best place for us to communicate. Now, there are supposed to be captions here at the very top, but I'm not seeing them as much as I'd like to, and that could just be because I did an upgrade on my computer. But, that happens sometimes. Let me know if you do see it or if it's an issue for you in the question box. Okay, I'm happy to make sure I'm being as inclusive as possible. Now, there are some times because the internet is not playing friendly where I might come off camera. All right, just know as long as you can hear me, that's more important, and you can see the slides. All right. Let's make sure you find that question box, everybody. Let's talk about what people are doing. They're coming online. Your website is the new front door. All right, we saw that happen in March 2020. That hasn't gone away, even as we all go back even to hybrid situations, or as we go back in person and connecting together and shopping. And we see it this holiday season. People go here when they want to know, go, do, and buy. They look here first, even if they're shopping locally. They want to see who has it locally. They want to know whether or not they have it in inventory before they trek out to go get it, or to be able to say, I can check that off my list, right? So we know people are doing that, and they are making sure that they are able to work with companies and look and find companies that have an online presence. So if you don't have an online presence, people don't think you exist. In fact, now, especially after what we've gone through in the last 2 years, if you don't have an online presence, they think that your business has closed. So we do want to make sure you have an online presence, and that's important. Let me know in the question box if you have a website, because a lot of times when we talk about making your website work for you, people immediately think of design, right? We think of our logo, our colors, maybe the tone or the cadence on our site, but we don't talk about some of the other things that are really critical to making sure that our website is visible to everybody. Because if it's not visible, people can't do business with you if they don't know you exist. And I would like for you to know that it's really important that you show up in the first 30 searches of an organic Google search. So, when you're searching on Google, or when you say, hey Google, hey Alexa, because voice search is a thing, make sure, see where you show up, because the first page of a Google search will give you 10 organic search results. After that, another 10, another 10. Most people on average won't look past the first 30 pages. But even more so, I want to share with you that most people won't look past the first page. There is a joke saying, where do you hide a dead body? It's on the second page of Google, because that's where no one looks, right? You need to show up in the first page of an organic search. If you can dominate it, all 10 search results are you, your site, your information. That's even better, because now you position yourself into a position of credibility, that you are the key person in your industry or your field that somebody would want to do business with. None of us want to do business with somebody who's mediocre or was so-so. We want to hire the best, no matter whether or not we have the dollars to do that. We still want the best. All right, so I see some people here. Wonderful. I see some websites coming in. Janelle, hello Janelle, glad you're finding the question box. So often we think it's just graphics and we think it's colors, but it's also functionality. How well does it work? Is it mobile responsive? Mobile responsive is very important. In fact, that will affect where you show up in organic search if you're not mobile responsive or mobile friendly. Whether your site's secure will also determine that. The algorithm is patterned that if you are not mobile responsive and If you do not have a site secure, then you show up lower in a search. So you do want to make sure all of that's there, as well as looking at the fonts, making sure aesthetically it's matching your brand, because you want your brand to look right and look the same across all platforms, across all socials. That builds confidence and trust. And then the content really needs to speak to who your best customer is. So today's agenda, we'll be talking about what it takes to have a great website. We have all seen websites we don't like. Think about that for a moment. What is it about that website that you didn't like at all? What was the component or something that you saw or something that really bothered you? Let me know that in the question box, because there are some things that we see that are very similar in sites that people dislike, and sites that also do not show up visibly in an organic search. Number one, your site has to be goal-oriented. I know this is the not sexy part of marketing. A lot of people are looking for that silver bullet of how they can promote and be seen. Nobody wants to do the hard work or wait the time that it takes for Google to really know who you are and to be able to put enough content there that Google and people who are searching for you can both find you quickly and easily in that first page of search. So goal-oriented is really key and important. And today we'll talk about Google Analytics and Google Optimize, how you can use that to make sure you're meeting your goals. So even though I'm saying goal-oriented, and I'm going to steal this directly from Julie, I give you all the props and love because you're the one who taught me this, but if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. I wish my camera, I had it long ways, because if we were doing it long ways, you'd see there's a sign in the back here. I actually have a plaque that says, if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. And all the credit to you, Julie, because it's true. You cannot move forward and $1 or 1 minute spent that is not lifting the bottom line or making your goals inevitable is $1 or 1 minute spent too much. Oh, absolutely. You know, everybody's like, yes, if you know Julie, you've heard her say that, right? I'm not the first person to tell you that. Now, we also need to make sure that it's search friendly, because for the person looking, it needs to make sense, as well as for Google. But now when push comes to shove, I tell people who are putting things on sites to remember, build for the person first, not the algorithm. We need to be experts in our customers and know exactly what resonates with them. So when they see that, when they are searching, we are matching. Remember, it's really important to match. If you're not matching what people are actually putting and looking for when they're going to Google search, or when they're saying, hey Google, hey Alexa, you're not going to show up. So you do need to know if people know your name, if they don't know your name, or if they don't know your name, or there's a product or service that can serve them. How are they searching? What's their pain that they're looking to solve, or what is it that they need in their customer journey to make a decision? Is it convenient? We are in a busy world right now, and as I said, your website is the new front door, and if it takes too long for that front door to load, takes too long to do things, you keep having to put things back or pinch and zoom to see things, they're out of there and they're on to the next site. It has to be organized, right? So I didn't see anybody put that yet in the question box, but oh my gosh, organize. That is the number one reason people will leave a website. And I see many small businesses, and I'm guilty of it too. You get a new service, new product, new team member, and you just throw it there on the website. Let's just put it there. It becomes your junk drawer. And that's the last thing people want to deal with, when it's disorganized and they can't find anything, or when you said on your social post, come over here and look at the tomato recipe, and now you throw them to the front page of the site and you don't take them to the tomato recipe. Now they're searching for all of this. And that really is something they don't want to do, so they go to the next site. And that all builds trustworthiness. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's dive into the hard part right now. This is the heavy lifting. Is your website goal-oriented? What is your website supposed to do? So let me know in the question box. Why do you have a website? Is it to build your brand? So you really want to elevate and people to know, and elevate your visibility, I should say, so people will know who you are and know what you provide. Is it to generate leads? So do you have a lead capture form in there? Do you have a way to, maybe they download a PDF and now they have to leave their contact information? Is it to make sales? So it's an e-commerce site. Know that I have spent the last 12 years in international e-commerce. I love e-commerce, but I know that the e-commerce animal is a lot different from somebody who's, let's say, positioning themselves as a brand or as an employer brand. Now, it could be to re-engage customers. We know that it costs less money and time and energy to be able to re-engage a customer, to be able to increase that average order value, so the sale amount, or the volunteer amount. Again, you're going to hear me talk about sale because my background is in e-commerce, but know that I'm talking about conversions, and conversion is anything successful that somebody does on your site that you deem that's the goal that you want them to do. So it could be download, watch a video, listen to an audio, it could be leave their information, whatever that is. So even though I say sale, I mean conversion, and know that it's a successful action measured on your site, okay? So somebody said here, awareness of programs, perfect, self-service, all right, and function second. So you do want to make sure that's available on your site. Some people want to re-engage customers and encourage them to buy or to refer. Word of mouth is very powerful, even digitally, to attract employees, or it could be to support your customers and to help them out. Let me know in the question box. What is the purpose or the goal of your site? If you don't know what that is and you're just hoping to be able to get more business, well, hope is wonderful to have. It's a poor strategy. And it will also then make a very convoluted message for you and the message that you're putting out. It will also dilute your targeting. And even though you may be able to serve anybody that fogs a mirror, if you are targeting and your website is designed for anybody, everybody, and somebody, you'll get their second cousin, nobody. It's too wide, it's too diverse. People won't think you're talking to them. They need to be able to read your content. And when I say content, it's also text, it's video, it's photos. That's all content. They need to be able to see it and think, oh my gosh, they get me. This is who I want to talk to, okay? So I see, provide support and information. Perfect. So who's your audience then? Who are you supporting and providing information to? You need to understand who that customer is, how they act. I just got out of a meeting this morning where we put 8 customer personas together. We truly walked through, if we were sitting across the coffee table from somebody and talking to them, what would they do? What would they be interested in? What was their morning like? What did they have for breakfast? What are they going to do next? What do they fill their evening with entertainment? What do they make a decision, or what do they need to make decisions with when they're making small consumable purchases compared to large, very long-term purchases? So for you, do you know what they're thinking? Do you know where they live? Again, it is not that you couldn't serve anybody, everybody, and somebody. Of course you could, but you want to find that customer that gives you the most pleasure and profit, who if you had 100 of them, that would just float your boat and fill your business to the growth, to grow at the seams. Anybody else is just gravy, right? So who are they? It's really important for you to understand who you are writing for, or taking photos for, or doing videos for. And then of course, you have to set SMART goals. If you've never seen this acronym before, it does stand for specific. S is for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And when I say SMART goals, every goal that you have, you may already have that, or maybe because it's December, you're putting forth your 2022 goals and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to SMART test all my goals that I've written down, or as I start to formulate them this month, I'm going to make sure that they pass the SMART test. They must be specific. You want to make more money? How much does more money look like? 1 penny is more money. So how much is that? Can you measure it? Oh, I just want people to like me more or to see us more. Well, how do you measure that? Is it seeing you on Google? Is it seeing you on another search engine? Is it on social platforms? What does that look like? Is it opening your emails? Attainable. You'd like to make $1 million. That's wonderful. You made $100,000 last year. What between now and then, between today and the end of the year, or between January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022, are you going to do differently that year compared to this year to get you from 100,000 now to make that $900,000 difference to make $1 million? What's that difference? So make sure it's attainable, and only you know that because you can look at your past track record. Is it relevant? Now I hear a lot of people say this, oh Maria, I want more likes on social. Just, you know, and that's wonderful, but understand there is such a thing, especially if you speak to any social media manager, as vanity numbers that look really, really nice, but they really don't do anything to the bottom line unless you can quantify that. If you're not measuring, you're not marketing, right? So think about that for a moment. Is it relevant? Well, if you can tell me, hey, every time I do a post that has a good call to action, that means I usually get about 20 likes. Of the 20 likes that I get, 10 of them come to my site. Of the 10 that come to my site, 8 of them will fill out the contact form. And the people who fill out the contact form, more than 90% will do business with me. Well, great. Now it is specific, measurable, attainable. It's relevant to the bottom line, excuse me. And is it timely? Well, when do you want to get this done? In a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in a week, before the end of the quarter. So make sure you've got some examples here to help you. And if you want to take a screenshot of that, I'll get my pointer out of the way, because this is the most important part. I will tell you, this is what people don't want to do. They want to just find that quick solution. And this is the foundation to everything that you're putting together in your marketing. And if you do not build this foundation solidly, it is like building a house on shifting sands. You will shift everywhere. TikTok, Snapchat, TikTok ads are going. Instagram is now putting reels within the feed. All of this starts happening, and you'll start shifting what you're doing because you don't have that solid foundation. And that becomes very time expensive and resource money expensive too, which I want to make sure that you grow your business in the best possible way. So that's what I'm providing here to you today, is the best route to do that, and that is to have SMART goals. Then also, how will you measure that? Are you going to track those online calls? Are you going to collect those form submissions? How is that going to be? Are you going to monitor? I was working with some people yesterday on Google Ads, and we were talking about that. They didn't realize that Google Ads actually tracks how many minutes you spent on a phone call. So was this a real good call? Because it didn't look like it at 10 seconds. But at 771 seconds, this looks like this could be a good prime target. All right, and then we could teach Google Ads and the artificial intelligence to start looking for more people who look like that. So how specific are you being, and how realistic? One of the tools that you can use to help measure that, so even though you have your goals, now to measure how they're doing and make sure that you're keeping a good eye on your goals every single day, is Google Analytics. In fact, I like to use this little Post-it note here on my desk that says WIN, what's important now? Is what I'm doing now in this hour or this 30 minutes actually moving me closer to my goal? And if it's not, why am I doing it? So here, as you look, you can learn and find out what the different search terms are that people look for you. That's the words that they're putting in, or they're saying and speaking in voice search, that they are trying to find you. So maybe it is they're asking specifically for you or your service or product, or it could be they're posing it as a problem. How do I straighten my child's teeth? Is there a nice painful way where you don't do braces? So it could be that they're asking in that format. It'll also help you understand the demographic information of who that best customer is. So you are not trying to bring your brand to everybody and just taking a tremendous amount of time and money to do that. You can now know who your profitable customers are, and anybody else, as I said, is just gravy. Anybody else that over that is gravy. You can also understand, did they like the video, or do they like reading more about this blog, or do they want a step-by-step? Was that more important? So you can know what exactly matters to people who are your best customer. And you can evaluate exactly who's bringing the business. You may love to spend lots of time on Instagram, and maybe that's your go-to network, but it could be that that's not the go-to network of your best customer. Something that I always say to marketing teams when I'm working with them is, you are not your best customer. So we have to walk in their shoes, and that's why we spend the time understanding who they are, what they struggle with, what they enjoy, because then we can find out and know where their best channels are. And we can also ask our best customers, where do you like spending time? I'm not a Pinterest person at all. I just go in there and it loses me. I feel like it's such a time suck. But some of the brands that I work with, Pinterest is their go-to. It works just like a search engine, and that is where their customers are. So of course, they do need to be able to put a strategy towards that. As you set up your Google Analytics, what you'll do is you do have to have a Google account. Now, your Gmail account is a Google account. If you have your Gmail account and you go to this URL here, refresh it, it will remember your credentials and you're in. But if you don't have a Gmail account, you don't have to have one. You'll just go to google.com/accounts. So it's google.com/accounts with an S at the end. So ACCOUNTS. You'll go there, you'll put in, and you're going to create an account. So you're going to put in your current email address. It doesn't change it to Gmail. You'll put in a password, and like any other password protected site online, you'll use that to log in, and now you'll have access to a Google account, and you can use all the free Google tools. So this is not something you have to pay for. This is all free. You're going to start that off. You're going to set up your website. So that's your property, your domain name. That's your website property. And now you will add the tracking code to your site, or some sites, some CMSs. So things like, let's say Square, let me see, Wix, those are, or WordPress, those are considered CMSs, content management systems, right? Content management systems. And they might already have in the back end the ability to just press a button and it links everything together. So you may already have that and follow the instructions of your web host there. Now, do know there are 2 different versions of Google Analytics. In October, Google Analytics 4 became the official one that you see Google talking about. But because I'm involved in e-commerce and because I truly believe the more measuring, the better, right, Julie? So I have both Universal Analytics, which is the old analytics, and Google Analytics 4, because I like what each of them does. If you need me to show you how to be able to have both of them, I can show you how to do that too, okay? Just let me know. Yes, I like both too, Julie. I'm a big fan of it because I just like being able to measure all different nuances, and there's some that I'm still learning my way around, even in finding those different areas of the reports within Google Analytics 4. So you can see if you're setting it up for the first time and you do just want Google Analytics 4, which is the latest version, that's all you want. And again, that all depends on your goals, your SMART goals. This will determine which version that you want, which will be able to give you the information that you need to measure those goals. So now this is how you'd set that up. You'd go through the Google Analytics, the GA4 Setup Assistant, and it would walk you through how to do that. All right. Now, what the reports look like a little bit differently here. So you can see in Universal Analytics, which is what, if you had your analytics set up before October 2020, this is what you see. So if you went in there just by default, it would be Universal Analytics. You would see these 4 different reports. And let's see, are we allowed to tweet quotes or screenshots? Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. Please do, because I want the Google team to know that this matters. Make more like this, do more, right? So yes, please do. Just use the hashtag Grow with Google. Thank you for asking. So the reports that you'll see are real-time reports. That's letting you know what your site is, what's happening in your site in real time. We have a whole webinar about this, but I will let you know why you'd want to do that. Let's say you just send an email out, you send a post or a tweet out, and you want to see if that's getting more traffic to your site. You can see in real time exactly what's happening. I was working with a team that had something that was showcased as one of the fall must-haves in Good Morning America. And so because it was one of the fall must-haves and it would show, go across the time zones, you could see when it was shown in the East Coast, and you could see the spike in their numbers and the demographics of where people are coming from as it went over to the West Coast as we hit mountain time. So you just saw that difference. You can see that happening in real time. You can also see a conversion report to see what actually is getting people to do what you measure as success on your site. And then where are they coming from? And you heard me say that a moment ago, what channels actually are relevant. While I might feel really, really good about this, I might look and see, wow, the number 3 traffic driver to our site is Pinterest. I should pay more attention to that, even though I love to play and spend time on Instagram. And then what do they do when they're on your site? When they come into the landing page, where do they go next? And what happens next? Where are they looking? Where are they spending time? Where are they scrolling to? You can also see some of this in Google Analytics 4. It's just a little bit different. You're going to see the real time. That again is exactly that same report I was just talking about, what's happening in real time. And then also the life cycle. Where are they at? Have you just acquired them? Are they engaged? Are they coming back? Do you see them actually putting stuff into their cart or downloading or watching the video or leaving the information? And then a little bit more about who's visiting. So you can target better, know what tech they're using, what device are they coming in on. So also you can use another tool that you can connect with Google Analytics, and that is Google Optimize. So if you go to g.co/optimize, and what this tool does is it actually gives you a way to be able to put a goal there and to run tests to see which on your content is doing well and which you can improve. And I believe in tests on websites. Every website that I've ever spoken to, and worked with and helped small business, we are always testing. You hear it often called A/B testing, but we always test because while we may research our best customer, we're not the best customer. Let the numbers tell us exactly what the customer or the people visiting our site really like and really encourages them or gets them to convert, okay? Any questions now? Because I went through a whole lot in this first area, and we still have to talk about how a great website is search friendly. So any questions, feel free to use that question box, okay? Now that we've covered those goals, we're going to go deep into the Google searches and how you can make sure that you're visible. And again, make sure you use that question box. This is in real time, everybody. So I am really here. This is not a recording of me. But we know that people have looked for things that are near them. It's really important, even more so that they want to support their local community and they want to shop small. So we have seen that. Make sure that people, though, when they are searching for something that's near them, they are planning to do something pretty immediately. They're starting their research, but they may move through that cycle pretty quickly. So again, this is what a Google search page looks like. You see that search query right here at the very top. You can either use the google.com search bar or right up here at the URL. You might type in what you're looking for. Again, people could speak that. At the very top, you may see photos. The very first text result is a text ad. So those are paid positions, not talking about those today, but today we're talking about organic results, those 10 search results that happen afterwards and underneath. And then here to the right is the Google business profile. If you do not have a profile, I encourage you to get one. Talk to your Google partner about having me come back to do a webinar about how to set one up and to walk you through that, because this is so valuable. This is where you can tell Google all your correct information, and you can make sure that it's showing nicely across all devices, really prominently too. Remember what I said about the importance of showing up at the first page of search. This does show up right here when people are looking for your industry or your name, and do know that they want the correct information. When they drive up to your location and it says within a Google search that you're open and you're closed, they're not mad at Google, they're mad at you. And that's not the first impression that you want. So important to a friendly search, friendly site is it has to be fast, right? It has to load fast in 4 seconds or less. If your site takes longer than 4 seconds, you will lose over half, 53% of your traffic. And for every second over that, you'll lose another 10%. So you could be working your butt off here on social, doing ads, doing a great newsletter, driving people to your traffic. And if it takes more than 4 seconds, over half are gone. And then another 10% every second. In fact, most e-commerce sites that I work with, I encourage their website to load in less than 1.8 seconds, because it's better to just load faster, make it easier for people. The more they have to wait, the more the chance that they're going to hop off and go down the line on search to find somebody else whose site loads faster. And then if you're not an e-commerce site, a second. Normally a second is what you're looking at, but we tell people 4 seconds or less. That's a less survey. But what I'm finding on average, even when I work with different companies and brands, is 1.8 for e-commerce, 1 second for information sites. You do want to make sure it's useful too. Really needs to resonate with who the customer is. Remember, they need to see your information and think, oh my gosh, they get me. And this could be customer, client, donor, supporter, potential member. Okay, so even though I say customer, that's just me and my e-commerce background. And then have links throughout your website. Take them to the information. Don't try to flood them all on one page and make it this forever scroll. A lot of times you want to keep it short, and this 4.5 to 5, almost 5-inch now screen, you want to make sure that everything important is here. That's considered above the fold. Once you scroll, that's below the scroll, and that is the least important things. You also do need to look at your search engine titles and descriptions, because that's part of search engine optimization. So are you utilizing the keywords that people are typing in or saying? And you have to look at your information architecture. This is really key. If you've never heard of IA, what this is the structure of your site. And I'll show you that in just a little bit. But this is important, that people can find you when they're searching, that it's easy to navigate, and that it's available on all browsers, because I'll see people using all sorts of browsers these days. They don't just choose 2 or 3 anymore. Now, one of the tools that people aren't aware of is Google Search Console. This is 100% free, and I do want to share this with you because this is the door to Google's library. A lot of people believe that Google is the web. We're the internet. We are not the internet, but it's the catalog library of the internet. And I know, Jolene, this is going to speak to you. Just like any library, if things aren't cataloged and categorized, trying to say that all together, but if they're not, then people can't find things in there. So we are the catalog, we're the card catalog, if you will. We are the record of that. And to make sure the records are correct and Google's seeing everything, then it's on you as the business, as the owner of the website, to put your information correctly in Google. Now, a lot of people, excuse me, sorry about that. West Texas, you know, it got cold here. So super windy yesterday, super dusty. But what happens is a lot of people will rely on Google's bot. Googlebot is amazing. It will find so many things so quickly, but I don't like to just leave information of a business to the bot, especially my business. I don't want to leave it to a bot. I'm going to be in control of that. And you can control that right here by going in through this link. When you do that, you're going to show that you're the owner of the business. And when you do that, now you can say to Google, all right, I want you to look at this and this and this page. I don't want you to look in this page. This is important. That's old information. You can now let Google, the library, know which books are relevant, books meaning the pages of your website, and which are not. So when somebody is looking for that one sentence and one paragraph on one page of your book, they can find it easily in Google. Now, this again is 100% free. And what I would encourage you to do, a little marketing tip or marketer's tip, get Google Analytics set up first. Get that all together, because then you do prove through Google Analytics you're the owner of the domain. When you go to Google Search Console, it will already see you've connected analytics, and it will recognize you as the owner of the domain. You don't have to go through putting another tag somewhere or putting another code somewhere. It will automatically recognize that. Does that make sense? If they can't find you, might as well not have it. Exactly, exactly. Why does it exist there? Because there's millions, billions of pieces of information there, right, Jolene? So what happens with Google Search Console is you can confirm that Google sees your site. It will let you know if any of your pages are not mobile responsive or mobile friendly. It will also let you know the health of the traffic coming to your site. So Google Analytics lets you know what people do on your site, how they behave on your site, what on your site is working. But Google Search Console lets you know the health of your site. Is it responsive? Is it loading fast? Are we seeing all the information you want us to see? Or are there some pages that are not visible to Google? People are amazed whenever I show them where, what Google sees in the library, because I can show you that quickly. In fact, I could do that at the end if you're interested. But they're surprised when they may have 20 or 15 even pages of a small site and Google only sees 2 pages. So they think Google found them and they don't understand why they're not showing up higher in search. But here you are empowered and encouraged to take 100% ownership of that and make sure that you're entered into the library. How you can do that is you can sign up for Search Console. Remember what I said about my tip, do analytics first. So when you get here, it will already know, hey, this person owns the site, and now you can go ahead and walk all the way through. So in Search Console, what happens, you can update your sitemap and make sure that you index that. So submit that to Google. You can also utilize here to see if your website's mobile responsive. This is a Chrome inspector tool. So as a marketer, I'm a big fan of Google Chrome. That's a browser. If you bring up Google Chrome and you bring up your website, right click on your website. So you see that happening right here in the picture. You're going to click, when you right click, you will toggle down to the word inspect. When you click inspect, of course, you'll get all this gibberish. I'm not interested in that. I'm not a coder. But come here, you can click then on mobile device, and it will let you know exactly what it looks like on any device, be it, the iOS, whatever iPhone version we're on, Surface Duo, whatever you're on, a tablet, an iPad, you can, iPad Pro, it will show you what your site looks like, which is important for you to see that because the search engine is seeing that, and it determines where you show up in search, depending on how responsive and how well you line up here. If, for example, let's say in Trade Street Jam, if that welcome to Trade Street was coming off the edge here and not being able to sit within the screen, it would read that it's not mobile responsive. You would know that instantly, okay? All right. Now, it also needs to be convenient. Any questions over the last section before we talk about convenience? Happy to answer any questions. Just let me know in the question box, okay? Okay, so we've got one question. Let me know what the one question is. All right, as you're typing that, a great website is convenient. All right, so how is it convenient? Well, we know that when people go on there, they're going to use their mobile device, right? They're doing this is their shopping list, everything. We have a computer in our hand. It's next to our heads in our bed. In fact, it may hit our face as we sleep at night because we're always looking at it. So it's really important that we make sure everything is convenient and easy. This is our storefront. So as we look at this, is it responsive? Is it easy for people to read, or do they have to pinch and zoom or swipe side to side to read everything? Can they make payments easily? Or is it a search? Do you have a big pop-up covering everything and they can't figure out on a mobile. Remember, on a mobile, they might be able to do it on a desktop, but they can't figure out how to close that X out and to be able to make that go away, that pop-up go away. And are there personalized recommendations happening in there? So I've got a question, trying to add a website into the library. It goes through a hosting company, so you have to have the login. Just a note, important because we struggled with it. Oh, absolutely. That is why, though, I do encourage you to do the analytics first, because sometimes analytics can circumvent that. There's sometimes, not all the time, but yes. I mean, but like you said, GoDaddy, if you have analytics, sometimes it can circumvent that. Again, not always, but yeah. So it just, I like to, the more, in fact, just so you know, so Julie's making some good points here, saying that that explains because they struggled with that. So she wanted to make sure you're aware of that if you come across that, because some people get super excited, as I did the very first time. I went into Search Console first, and it's like, oh, I need to go do this now and do this and be logged in. So now you've got to find all this information. But I found when you connect analytics, and truly when you connect all the Google tools, it confirms to Google that your information is correct. A little hint. Google's the #1 search engine in the world. YouTube's #2. It's also owned by Google. So you, as somebody is in small business, you need to be able to know how to dominate the both of them. But their purpose of being and how they became #1 is that they have the right information. When Google tools, all of them can work together and confirm a YouTube channel, your Google business profile, your Google ads, your Google Search Console, your Google Analytics, your Google Workspace, when all of those start confirming that your information is consistent across all of those tools, you show up higher in search because you're confirmed, you're valid. And Google became #1 by providing the correct information when people search. So make sure you take advantage of that. Use all the free tools that you can. People are looking for that convenience, that curbside pickup, right? Want fast, we want delivery shipped, we want virtual consultations. Remember, before March 2020, it was so rare we would all get on video call. Every now and again, you would do a FaceTime, right? And now, who hasn't been Zoomed out enough, or Google Meeted out enough, or Microsoft Teams, whatever you use, right? We feel like we're always on camera now. Perfect. I'm glad it was helpful, Julie. All right, so your responsive design is take the mobile first approach. If you have a limited time and limited budget and you're working with a designer or you yourself are designing, then the time I would spend is making sure that it looks great on mobile first, desktop and laptop second. 76% of the US goes here first. So this is first. In a budget of time or money, I would spend all of that in mobile. Make sure that you have good images, that you have graphics that are crisp, but then also adjust to the different size, and that you look and remember accessibility. How are people going to access this? Is it easy, or is it really hard with our big old thumbs trying to poke or to tap on that text link? So this is very important that we make it nice and easy. In fact, when people are shopping, the most frustrating thing in an e-commerce store is when you don't have the back button, or you don't have the ability to search a site, right? How many people leave because now I don't want to look through every page of the site, or I'd like to add more to my cart than having to go back each time, and now it takes it out of my cart, it becomes a problem. Do you make it easy for people to pay? There's a reason why you see in e-commerce sites all of these different payment functionalities come up, because they want to meet customers wherever they're at. They don't want to just dictate, you need to just use this tool. You might want to use this. You might want to use even a way to pay out in payments like Partially or Klarna. So again, make sure you provide them the opportunity to make it easy for them to buy from you. We want them to, easy all day long, right? So you might even offer a guest checkout where they don't have to log in. And then recommend products or services. You've heard this said before. If you've ever been in sales, you want to upsell them. But remember what we said about, if you already are doing business with a customer, that the best customer to get is to just do business with an existing customer, because they already know, like, and trust you. And it takes a tremendous amount of time, energy, and money to go get a brand new one. So make recommendations to them. What else could they do next? What will help them understand their journey? Okay, so they got this service or this product from you. What's the next thing that they need? And what's the other pitfall that could happen? Or where could they turn wrong here that maybe you can support them with a product, service, or solution? All right. Again, we're building for that convenience and letting people know if we have curbside pickup, Let them know that, communicate that. Make sure we have, not just here, but in our business profile, our Google business profile, that we're offering the ability to ship or to be able to pick up in store. We see a lot of businesses doing that now, and that also you provide virtual consultations. So they do not feel that they have to make the decision of, am I going to go out today or not? They can do business with you right away from their phone. Okay? Any questions? We're going to talk about some tools that'll help you do all of these things. These are all free. Remember, I said everything I'm talking about is 100% free. So number one is test your site. Remember what I said, 4 seconds or less. It needs to load. 1.8 normally for e-commerce, 1 second for a, let's say, a site that you're just providing information or doing employer or your brand building. So you're really elevating that credibility. Know that while I'm a huge fan of so many CMSs, content management systems, understand that Shopify, one of the most wonderful, in fact, I talk about it in the presentation and do about selling online with e-commerce. It's one of the best ones out there. Shopify still has some themes. So this is the background. This is the graphics, some themes of the site that take 3.8 seconds to load, just the theme, let alone putting anything else in there, information, photos, video. So if you have a site theme that's loading in 3.8 seconds, you've got some decisions to make on what you're doing, or you've got to choose a different site, right? So do know exactly how quickly or how slowly your site loads. What's nice with this report, it'll let you know what's slowing it down, and then it also lets you know how to fix it, which I love too. Yes, the Google Business Profile is a game changer, and Google is focusing more and more efforts and resources there. So I would definitely lean into that and use every piece of that you can. The messaging function, Julie, utilize the free website that's available there. Even if you have a website, make sure it's pointing to your website and maybe highlighting something from that. But lean in and use every tool that you can there, because it's going to become even more important in search. Then also the Test My Site tool, again, it will improve that load time. It'll let you know what can improve that load time. It itself will not improve the load time, but you will know exactly what people see on a mobile device, how long it takes on a mobile device. All right, remember what I said with that report. It'll let you know exactly what's happening. It personalizes everything and lets you know that if your website is engaging customers or not, and then whether or not it's a good experience. So you get all of that feedback from the Test My Site tool. And also, remember what I said about being organized? Remember you heard me mention information architecture a moment ago? And that information architecture is the structure of your website. A lot of people have this basic website, the home page and maybe about us or our team, shop and contact. That's the basic of a website. But some will put an architecture that delves in deeper and provides more speciality to their customers. For example, if this was a jewelry shop, or in this instance, it's Trade Street Jam, so she's putting her other products and her other jams or other flavors. So we have jams, hot sauces, and even gift cards, making it easier for people to shop. Remember, when we look at our goals, what are our goals, and is it important for us to be able to have a nice, clear structure where people can go through and find and make it easy for them to shop or do whatever that we deem successful, or how we're measuring success on our website? Do we make it easy for them? Now, how you organize your website is really, really important. You do want to have the pages there. You want a clear call to action there. Again, be very clear, not convoluted. What is it that you want them to do? Let them know. Tell them, click here, do this here, shop, buy now. It is because we're inundated with 12,000 messages on any given day. So we're not stupid, but we're reading things that quickly, and you need to give your messaging that quick and oomph so they know what they're going to do next. And you do want to optimize the navigation. So make it easy for people to look around, have that site map there, have it easy for them to search. Pay attention to your Google Analytics. If it seems like people keep searching, for example, we were working with a construction company or a construction supply company, and people were always searching for the forklift. So we knew that we needed to move the forklift and a certain pallet jack up to the very front page. So again, the less clicks, the better, making it easier for them to do business with you. We wanted to bring it right front and center because we knew that's what people were searching for. So how do they find ideas? How do they find relevant content? Really think about that layout of your site. Look at it. Look at it. Is it the path, the journey that a customer would expect to take and that they need to be able to make a decision to do business with you? Now, one of the tools that I love to use, the unsung hero of all the Google tools, is Google Trends. So you'll go to g.co/trends, and this will help you understand what people are searching for right now in your community. So it could be geography based, or it could also be industry based. So you could search, let's say, for veterans training in Austin, Texas, and you can find out what people are searching for around that. Or maybe you want to say veterans training in Las Vegas, Nevada. Whatever it is you want to do, you can change the geography, or you might want to say in Las Vegas, Nevada, what are people talking about and searching for right now? And it will let you know what people are searching for actively, what are the growing or the breakout search terms, so what people are searching for more, and what are some ones that have been long-term searches. So within Google Trends, and we go into this into greater depth in another webinar, which is Reach Customers Online, but I will give you some high points. And that in Google Trends, you can see what's trending right now around your industry, what's trending around your area. You can look for new content that you want to refresh. You can put in your competitor's name and see what people are looking for to find them, and use some of those keywords to get some eyeballs looking your way. You can see what's trending in YouTube search. And before you post a video, even if it's an Instagram video, you can utilize this, what's trending in YouTube, create that Instagram story, repurpose it into a YouTube short, and now you are meeting people wherever they're at, because not everybody's in this platform, not everybody's in this tool, but we know the #1 search engine is Google, #2 is YouTube, so at least there should be some visibility of content there, so repurpose that content. And then of course, your great website has to be trustworthy. If anything is broken, people think, this is a fake site, and they will not do or leave information or leave their payment information if the site is broken, because that really, it makes the hair on the back of their neck stand up, because, oh my gosh, is this a spoof site? So they don't feel like it's a true viable site. They will not do business with that site anymore or go back there anymore. Any questions before I go into this section as we finish things up? All right. Website security is really, really important. That SSL, that little lock you see at the corner, lets you know it's a secure site. If you do not have a secure site, know that the quick hint of that is you're going to look for this little padlock there at the top corner of the browser or the address bar. You also are going to look for HTTPS. So it's not just HTTP://. You see in the web address, but you'll see HTTPS. That means it's secure. And secure sites are given favor within the algorithm and show up higher. Then you also do want to show that you have secure payments. I work with a lot of teams, a lot of times, that are really working in building that trust level, and they do want to show that they are utilizing secure sites, that their data or their financial information is never breached or leaked, okay? Your website reputation has everything to do with customer trust. And that's why I said, if something's broken, it's important for you to take a look at it. There's a team I work with, they have somebody who every single week, a team member goes through every single page of their site, making note of, okay, this isn't loading fast enough, the text is showing here on this looks funny on the mobile, the text is too close to the edge, because they're an e-commerce business. And they have to make sure that people feel comfortable and that it's a trustworthy site, that they'll leave their information. People will read reviews. Online reviews are very powerful, so keep that in mind. Are you showcasing those either on the different tools or also on your website? A lot of times when people leave me a good Google review, I also utilize programs to make sure that it's showing on the website. It just gives that credibility. Show your actual ratings, show the actual words. Don't just say, Rachel gave you 5 stars. Give some content to that. In fact, a quick hint, if people are leaving you reviews on Google or actually any place, there has to be some relevant text underneath. Just leaving 5 stars does nothing. It's kind of like in social, just leaving a like does nothing. You have to make a relevant comment, an important comment. It's not just yes, it's got to be a relevant comment. But then here, it also with reviews, you have to leave some text underneath about that for that actual review to count towards your rating. And then the contact information. Can they find you? Can they contact you? Maybe if you're not available by phone, that's okay, but do they have other ways to contact you? And is that showcasing nicely on every page of your website? This is the email address, or this is the physical address. Now, if you're sending emails out, that is required, that you do have to have the physical address in there, okay? All right, before we go to our next steps, any questions in that question box? We're about 4 minutes past time, and I am going to give you the next steps so that you can start implementing that. Because as my friend Jo says, and I love her so dearly, she'll tell me that knowledge is not power, applied knowledge is power. Knowledge is knowing that the tomato is a fruit. Applied knowledge is knowing to not put it in the fruit salad. So we want to apply knowledge. First, what you're going to do is you're going to get your goals together. Learn Google Analytics and optimize. Start connecting those. Start understanding, then connecting Search Console after you do analytics. And then use Test Your Site. Find out exactly what's happening with your website. Does it load quickly? Go into Google Trends. Know the words that people are using right now, because it's really hard. I'm a huge fan of fish are where the fish are. It's really, really hard to get people, and takes a lot of time and money to get people who are spending time over here to spend and look and send their eyeballs over here. So I like to meet them where they're at, but you can't do that unless you know where they're at. Google Trends will let you know. And then be trustworthy on your site. Make sure it is easy functioning and doing everything that you said it's going to do, so people feel comfortable leaving their information or even doing anything on your site. Now, one of the free tools that I would encourage you to download is Google Primer. This is free on iOS or Android. It is an app, and it has a lot of different mini courses in there. This is 100% free. And even though all my degrees are in marketing, I love to use this whenever I'm waiting somewhere in line, at the airport, even when it's just downtime and I'm waiting, for something to heat up. I'm going to be looking at this and learning as I go. So there's wonderful lesson plans in there, and you don't have to be connected once you've got the app downloaded. You can also go to Google On Air every quarter. So during this year, it was every other month, but now in going into 2022, it's going to be every quarter. We're going to have a Google On Air that is about the topic that is really right now relevant and top of mind that we see people struggling with or needing more information on. And as I said at the very beginning, this is the Grow with Google website. You will see it's available to job seekers, teachers, students, and developers, but most importantly, to our Google partners. This is where they reach out and connect with the Google team. So if you've got questions, reach out to your Google partner. If you see something here that you'd like more training on, let's say, I really want to know how to do the Google business profile, so I want to go through that webinar, then you would reach out to the Google partner that invited you and ask them to do that webinar, okay? And that's really everything that we have to get our website working for us. This is really important. So I do want to give a shout out before I go to questions, because if you do need to jump off, I know we're 1 minute before time, but your Google partner is who invited you. And that could be Transition Skills Training, Skills After Surface and Lilly. It could be Kaufman Chamber of Commerce. It could be the Texarkana Chamber of Commerce, and it could be Ada Public Library. Those are the Google partners who today made sure that this happened, and not only found out what you needed, but made sure that you were aware that this is being made available to you. So let me see, what was the AP again with the mini training sessions? Oh, okay, let's go here with the this is the app right there, Google Primer, g.co/primer. Great question. You're very, very welcome, Julie. Julie's with Transition Skills Training and Skills After Service, and I am happy to be of help to you. You know, as a Air Force brat, I love any time that I can work with our veterans, any of our military service men and women who are transitioning out of active duty into civilian life, be it whether they're job seeking or they're starting a business of their own. I am happy to help. So thank you, Julie, for the opportunity, as well as all of our Google partners. As I said, it's Kaufman Chamber of Commerce. We have the Texarkana Chamber of Commerce. We also have Ada Public Library, who's here too. You're very welcome, CJ. Natalie, absolutely. Texarkana Chamber of Commerce, you're on it. I mean, my gosh, what a great benefit you are to your community. You're such a promoter and supporter of small businesses, so I'm happy to be here. Any other questions though before we jump off? I am going to go ahead and stop the recording now, but I will